I overheard my fiancée secretly planning to marry me, then divorce me for half my assets and run back to her ex, so I exposed her in front of everyone and her plans crumbled. I, 29 male, thought I had it all figured out. I've worked my ass off to build a life for myself, a small but growing business, a house, and what I thought was the perfect relationship. My fiancée, 27F, and I were supposed to get married in just a couple of weeks. She'd been by my side for years, and I really believed she had my back. She didn't come from much, which made me think she understood the grind and appreciated what we had. She always talked about how proud she was of me and how she admired my drive. It was easy to believe her. I mean, why wouldn't I? Relationships are built on trust, right? But man, looking back now, I can see all the little things I brushed off as nothing. It turns out they were giant red flags, but I was too blind to see them. She'd constantly talk about her ex, let's call him rich guy, not like she missed him, but more like she wanted me to know what I was being measured against. He was loaded, she'd say, and used to take me on these crazy trips, shower me with gifts, blah blah. She'd always follow it up with, but I left him because he wasn't real like you, and I'd just nod along thinking I'd won the lottery with her. What an idiot. The entitlement started showing up in small ways. She once told me to fire one of my employees, someone who'd been with me since I started the business. The woman was in her 50s and had been nothing but loyal, but my fiancé thought she didn't fit the image of the company. Her exact words were, "Don't you want your team to look young and modern? She's holding you back." I shut that down real quick, but it turned into this huge argument. Another time, she hosted a girls' night at some fancy place and charged the bill to my business card. When I found out, she said, "It's a networking expense, you should be thanking me." I was furious and canceled the card she had access to, but I still let her talk her way out of it. She even had a problem with my hobbies. I like hiking and woodworking, nothing crazy, just stuff I enjoy to unwind. But she'd always make fun of it. Who has time for that when we could be doing something productive? She'd say. She'd push me to go to fancy events or dinners with her instead, like that was more important. At the time, I thought all of this was just normal relationship stuff, people clash, right? You compromise and move on, but none of it felt like compromise now that I know what she was really thinking. 3 weeks before the wedding, I got home early from a meeting. I wasn't trying to sneak around or anything, but as I walked in, I heard her on the phone. She was in the bedroom talking loud enough that I could hear her from the hall. I was about to call out when something stopped me. Her tone was weird, like she was laughing and bragging about something. Then I heard her say, "It's all falling into place. Once the wedding's done and we combine finances, I'll file for divorce. He won't know what hit him. And don't worry babe, I'll be back with you soon." I froze. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was laughing, saying how clueless I was and how she'd get half of everything. She even called me boring and said I was just a stepping stone. I stood there for what felt like forever listening to her talk about her big plans with her ex. Then she hung up, and I just left. I didn't even bother going inside that night. I stayed at a buddy's place. I didn't tell him what was going on yet because I needed to figure it out myself first. By the next morning, I had a plan. The first thing I did was call my lawyer. I explained what I'd overheard, and he immediately told me to lock down my assets. Thankfully, the house was in my name and she wasn't legally tied to the business, but just to be safe, I updated all my accounts and made sure there was no way she could touch anything. I also bought a small voice recorder and placed it in the living room. If she was willing to talk so openly on the phone, I figured it wouldn't take long to get proof, and I was right. Over the next week, I caught her having multiple conversations with her friends about her plan. One time she said, "It's not like he'll fight back, he's such a pushover. By the time he realizes what's happening, I'll already have what I want." Another time she talked about her wedding demands, laughing about how she was squeezing me for upgrades because I owed her. The audacity was insane. She even said she was doing me a favor by sticking around as long as she had. I kept my cool the entire time. I acted normal, played the part of the clueless fiancé, and even agreed to some of her ridiculous wedding requests just to keep her off my trail. 2 weeks later, on the day of what was supposed to be our wedding, I asked her to meet me at the venue early. I told her we needed to go over some last-minute details before the guests arrived. She showed up in her dress looking like she thought she'd already won, but instead of walking into a wedding setup, she walked into a room full of her parents, my family, and a few close friends. I was standing at the front with a stack of papers and a USB drive. "What's going on?" she asked, her smile fading fast. I didn't waste time. "This isn't a wedding, it's an intervention," I said. "I know what you've been planning, and everyone here is about to find out too."
I've been avoiding my boyfriend like the plague ever since he told me he preferred it pink, knowing damn well I'm not, but my friends think I'm making a big deal out of nothing. This is so embarrassing. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year now and everything was moving forward smoothly. We have great chemistry and the lovemaking was absolutely mind-blowing. Until about 2 weeks ago when we were having pillow talk after a great intimate session. Then he opened up and mentioned that he loved pink PC and that it made him go crazy. That he preferred it. I told him that that means the majority of girls of color aren't preferable to him. He shrugged and said that this was what everyone actually preferred but it doesn't take from the girl. I told him that I disagreed about everybody because not everyone is subscribed to the white ideal. He shrugged again. Honestly, I didn't care much about it at the time. Personal preference, I thought. But now I have been avoiding him like the plague. The thought of him gives me the shudders. He has been texting me every day and trying to call, but I am not ready to talk to him yet. I think I am ending things with him, but I don't think it is polite to do it via text when we have been together for a year, and I am simply not ready to see him yet, so I have been avoiding him. My friends are calling me a jerk, but for different reasons. The majority, because I am insecure and felt inferior and dumped a man because of his preference when everything else is great and he loves me. He made it very clear that this preference doesn't have anything to do with what he wants from a partner. I honestly don't think this is the issue here though, that I feel insecure. Others because I didn't react strongly enough, but then again, I didn't really think that I had any right to scold someone over their preferences. There's no right and wrong. Have I messed up? Edit, same post, so I did it and I sent him the text suggested by one of you beautiful Reddit users. He texted me that he wanted to see me and at least he wanted to know what's wrong and if he did anything to make me mad, so I just simply texted back, I think we should see other people. He answered about an hour later. He said he wanted to come over to talk. So I guess we are having the talk later this evening. Wish me luck. Update, the next day. So he was here and we talked. I let him do almost all the talking. He started saying that he missed me and that he loved me. I told him that I feel like something switched off between us and I got the ick. I don't think it is fixable. He got angry and called me insecure and that he didn't mean it that way. These things aren't important in the scheme of things and that I am the best he's been with and not only intimately. I disagreed that I am insecure because I don't recognize myself as one. I'm just turned off and I thought we should call it quits before we waste more of each other's time. Him, it's not like I'm the only one who thinks that. Everyone does. Me, thinks what? Him, you know. Ask anyone, and those who say otherwise are lying. Me, like ask who? Him, like my friends. They all like white girls. Me, okay? Him, see, you're being insecure again. I don't care because I love you. It doesn't matter. Me, no, it doesn't matter at all, but at the same time, I'm not really attracted to you anymore. We can't control these things. Him, very upset. See, we want to give you, plural, a chance, but you're always so dramatic. And you wonder why we prefer white women? Just relax. Be fun. Me, you just said you didn't care. He just stared in silence. Then he said, look, I didn't mean it that way, but you, plural, really need to relax. I love you. You are the best SX I have ever had. Then it just got awkwardly quiet afterwards, so he said he was leaving and asked to just not jump into things. He texted later that things didn't go as he hoped and that he was sorry and didn't mean what he said. Then to at least think before giving him an answer. I answered that I was very much sure that this was over and that I didn't need to think things over. He called me easily offended. Then the texting bubble was there for almost a minute, so I texted, before you write something stupid in the heat of the moment, don't. It wasn't worth us sinking this low. I prefer ending things on good terms. The bubble disappeared and he just wrote, I just can't believe I am losing you over this. I love you. This is it. I didn't and won't answer him. Everything is obviously paraphrased besides the text. The conversation was longer but went in this direction. This is my update. Now good night. Second update, 4 days later. Today I had a talk to my ex-boyfriend's best friend's wife. Her husband told her everything, and as many here suspected. It wasn't just an innocent comment or a preference. It was negging. My ex-boyfriend meant to say it to me to make me feel insecure and even grateful that he sticks around like, oh, he must love me then if he doesn't mind how I look. Basically he thinks I am too awesome to be with someone like him, so he's been terrified that I would leave him. Well, it backfired because I kind of get turned off by someone making me insecure. I am even the opposite. I am very needy of feeling praised and appreciated to feel attracted to someone. He must be dumb as hell not having to know this about me after a year of dating. Seeing how much I appreciate it, the more affection and compliments I got from him. He thought comparing a brown girl to white girls is a good idea because apparently we are all too insecure when it came to white girls. My question now is to you. Does putting your girlfriend down really ever work to keep her? Is this really a thing? It must be because so many have suggested it and it turned out to be the case here. Do people really stay with someone who puts them down? It hit me now that the relationship is ended and I feel so sad about it. What a silly thing to pull off on your GF and blow a perfectly happy relationship. What a waste of good love he was.